I made it all by myself. I did it all by myself.
Welcome back to the apocalypse, everyone. My name is Professor Julius. No, I'm not a real professor. I don't know what that makes me a false prophet. But whatever. I am going to teach the crap out of you today. Namely, how to understand the fundamental building blocks and mechanics. Hell, the philosophy of guitar. There is a philosophy of guitar. When everyone is learning how to play guitar, you start off wanting to learn a song, but then, by the time you get that song down, God willing, there are some questions in your head. You should have questions. Like, why does that song consist of that music? Why those notes? What are notes? Why those chords? Why are there more than one note in a chord? What are chords? What are the different notes in a chord? How do they know to put them together like this? How do I know how to make sense of all of this? Well, I'm so glad that you asked, because we're going to start at the beginning. Number one, this fine machine is a guitar.
A guitar.
That I hope you can hear.
No. It's okay, keep going.
Got a green light.
Try me something.
This is a guitar. It consists of a body, a bridge to hold the strings, saddles on which they sit.
Saddle.
Get the joke? Saddles.
Saddle.
Maybe a whammy bar if you're lucky.
Saddle.
Maybe not. Doesn't matter. You don't really need one. You can do so much without it.
So much.
You can do so much with it. More on that at another time. Let's stay focused. Kids in your ADHD, I swear. So, body, bridge, whammy bar, saddles on which strings sit. These are these strings that you've heard so much about. This one needs clipping. Terribly unprofessional.
Yes, stop it there.
So those strings go over pickups, which magnetically pick up the sound and distribute it to your amplifier or iPad, whatever you're using nowadays. Lots of newfangled devices.
The future is now.
But those go across a neck and a fretboard, which consists of a bunch of frets going across. Those give you your little half-step notes. What's a half-step note? More on that in a bit. This right here, this black thing, it's called a nut. It's a nut.
You're a nut.
And then the strings go from the nut, which holds them in place at the top of the neck, to the tuning pegs, which tune our guitar and make it go up and down. Tuning your guitar, we're going to cover that too today. How to do it, with or without one of these fancy phones we have today. It's important to have that lesson because learning how to tune your guitar is the same as learning how to be in tune with it, if you learn it right. What are these frets? There's a lot to look at. We got 6 strings.
6 strings.
We've got all these frets, little dots here and there, and this nut thing. It's nutty. It's crazy. Why it's called a nut, I still don't know. I don't know. On this fretboard, you have these frets that go across and 6 strings on them. If we just single out the 6th string and play it open, that gives us a low E. The guitar is tuned with a low E at the bottom. One of the things I personally love about music and guitar in general, and especially music on a guitar, is that there is a lot of multi-dimensional thought that happens. The way that you look at a guitar is kind of counterintuitive. And what I mean by that in this case is up is down and down is up. On a guitar, the higher up you go this way, that's right, this is up on a guitar, the higher the pitch goes. Pitch is that ooh, ooh, ooh. That's pitch. Note that goes up and down. Up in pitch, down in pitch. Up in pitch, down in pitch. In music, when we go up in pitch, it's called ascending. And when we go down in pitch, it's descending.
Descending.
And this guitar goes up in pitch this way. So we call it going up the neck.
Up the neck.
And down in pitch this way.
Down the neck.
So we call it going down the neck.
Down the neck.
Ascending,
Ascending.
we're ascending in pitch up the neck. Descending in pitch down the neck.
Ascending.
Likewise, we need to go ahead and figure out what are our string numbers, like which one is which. Well, our low E string, closest to you, is the 6th string. So you might think, that's the 1st string. No, it's not. Don't even let yourself get confused already. So this fat string is your 6th string. This skinniest of strings is your 1st string. Also, an E. Low E, high E. 6th string, 1st string, and everywhere in between. So 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. These frets, starting with an E, are all a half step apart.
Half step.
What does that mean? It means that to separate the notes on the fret, they have been sectioned off into what's called half steps. Each one is a half step from the next and from the last. Half step, half step, half step. Boom, half steps. Okay, well, where to go from here? Now that we have our string numbers, 6th through 1st, and our string names, at least the first one, E, we can begin our half-step journey to musical alchemy and enlightenment. Before we go into all these notes that are on here and what they mean, let's first learn our musical alphabet. One of the beautiful things about music is that if you just so much as learn the alphabet that it consists of, which is only 12 notes, you pretty much know all of music in a nutshell. It's got all these neat little tricks built into just the way the notes hang out next to each other. Some of them are neighbors, some of them have space in between. So where to start? Well, I guess there are 12 notes in the musical alphabet. That's right, only 12, and they range from A to G. Asterisk. That's a big asterisk. We're going to come back to that. But A to G, well, let's count that. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's only 7. Like I said, some of them are direct neighbors, and some of them have space in between. We'll call it a yard. Some of them got a yard. Now, the thing about these neighbors, these notes, is that they, again, only go from A to G, asterisk. And not all of them have a yard. Some of them are real close together, right next to each other, in fact. And there is a very simple rule that I have come up with for remembering which ones are neighbors and which ones ain't. And I like to affectionately refer to it as the Nixon-Buckoff rule. What's the Nixon-Buckoff rule? Well, it's basically like this. There are only 2 sets of 2 notes that do not have a yard, that do not have a space in between them. And those are B and C, E and F. Buckoff. B, C, E, F. Buckoff. B, C, E, and F. Buckoff. Right next to each other. The Nixon rule. Only 2 sets of 2 notes don't have anything in between. So everything else has something in between. This also is where we start delving into our first bit of contextual note naming. The space notes in between are technically called enharmonic notes. And enharmonic is a fancy musical term that basically just means that depending on which direction you're going, up or down, ascending or descending, these notes can be called one of 2 different names, but are the same note. So we're going to start with A, which is at the 5th fret of our 6th string. And A, being not B and C or E and F, has a note in between it and B. All the notes in the main pantheon of notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, that's our main pantheon, 7 main notes. In between all but B and C and E and F, there are space notes. So between A and B, there is a space note. So here's A, here's B. There is a half step skipped over in the middle. And if we are ascending, meaning we are going up in pitch towards B from A, that note in between is referred to as A sharp. It is named after the note that would come before it while ascending. Now, here's the thing. Again, multi-dimensional thought. If you are going down from B towards A, that note in the middle would be called a B flat. Same thing. You're going down, you flattened the note a bit by a half step, and it's going to be called B after the note that comes directly before it. So, one note, two different names. Going up from A towards B, it's called an A sharp. If going down from B towards A, it's a B flat. Now, as cool as that is, and I think it's really cool, I mean, multi-dimensional thought built into just the naming of the notes. It's kind of complicated, and I'm a simple sort, so just to kind of, at least for the beginning portions of these exercises, we're just going to refer to them as their sharp names. So, if we were to play all the notes, incorporating the buck-off rule, and ascending, all notes would be A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. You'll notice that after G, there's our asterisk. We have G, G sharp, because there is an harmonic note after G, then A 80 hertz, actually. And that's how cool the science stuff gets. If you double the frequency number of the initial note of A at 440, it becomes 880A, the higher version of it. And likewise, if we start at A, we can go down. Crazy stuff. So that is all of our notes. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. And we can keep going. And likewise, if we were descending, going from A, it would be A flat G, G flat F, E flat D, D flat C, B flat A, and so on and so forth. We can keep going. It goes all the way up, all the way down. And that's all on one string. So we have just learned every note in the musical alphabet, including multidimensional thought aspects, in what? A few minutes. Not too shabby. And that's all on one string, which is amazing, isn't it? Also, not very efficient. It's not the most efficient way to go about things. I mean, that's cool. It even sounds kind of neat. But probably a better way to get there. No, not many people have the stretch to do that just with one hand. I guess you can kind of get it. So it could be done. It could be done. You could do it. But we would be ignoring one of the cooler aspects of the guitar and how it works. Every fret and every note are a half step apart. So if you skip one, go from A to B without playing that note in between, you've made a whole step. Half step, whole step. Whole tone, half tone is another way that it can be referred to as. You'll hear these things used interchangeably depending on the person, how they were raised in music. So we've got E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. Now, I have a rule that I have penned, the 5-5-5-4-5-5 rule, that is an easy rule for tuning your guitar. And almost everyone learns this within the first lesson that they get. But I've never known anyone to show why it's so important to learn to tune your guitar, not just so that you don't sound bad with chords and such, and so that the notes sound good together. It's not just that. It's that if you take to heart the principle that's being shown to you, you will automatically know where every note is on your guitar forevermore. From day one, you never have to wonder how people memorize their fretboard. These are really simple principles, and this one is really profound. The 5-5-5-4-5-5 rule. But here's how it works. If you don't have a fancy phone around to tune it for you, you can basically guess where your E is, somewhere around there, and then you can use the rest of your guitar to tune itself. For instance, the 5th fret is equal to the next string, the A string. The 5th fret is an A, and that is the next string. The 5th fret of the A string, the 5th string, is a D, which is the next string. I'm going to tune that. And the 5th fret of the D string, or the 4th string, is a G, which is our next string, our 3rd string. 5th fret, 5. 5th fret, 5th fret, 4th fret on the 3rd string to equal a B. 5th fret on the 2nd string to have our high E. So 5, 5, 5, 4, 5 is how you tune your guitar. But here's what they don't show you, and here's why it is so incredibly important to take this simple lesson to heart. Tuning your guitar in this way, learning to tune your guitar in this way, not only saves you from having to have a device that does it for you, it also teaches you how the guitar works. Most people don't realize this, but it teaches you how the notes go across the entire fretboard. So if we want to play all of the notes in our musical alphabet, but we don't want to play them on one string, here's how we would do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the next fret is the next string. So I could, instead of going this way up to A, I could go there. And likewise, the 5th fret is the next string. Don't have to keep going that way. I can stop at the 4th fret. So, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. So, more than twice, we played all notes in the musical alphabet, but instead of doing it here, we did it across here. And you can use that to your advantage. And here's my favorite way to do it. You just shift. The beautiful thing about a guitar is that everything you do down here, you can shift. So just remember 5, 5, 5, 4, 5, 5, and you've got all the notes. And what we want to do now is we want to play something on our guitar. We want to learn maybe some scales or some chords or figure out how to make a chord from a scale. That stuff's really neat. It's fun. It's musical alchemy. It's math, science, and music that's just pleasant to listen to, all combined somehow. And all you have to do is tune your guitar, learn your alphabet, which is 12 notes, and you're golden.